we're here at MCM Birmingham, we're joined by the stars who've been all over one, the stars I should say.
Yeah.
Tom Mison, Ichabod, thank you very much for joining us.
It's a pleasure.
Now, it's been a very big week for you in terms of the show. Season 3, finally, the week, it's what fans have been waiting for. Literally the news, and we're all thrilled. But it's season 2 ended in a rather interesting fashion for the whole show changed.
Yes.
What do you think about season 3?
Well, season 2 ends with effectively a fresh start. There's Ichabod is now completely alone. There's nothing left from his time. When he arrived in the 21st century, he very quickly learned that his wife was still around, and then he found out that his son, although he wasn't really pleased with his son, there were still connections to the past. And now he has nothing. He only has his new family, which is Abby, Jenny, and Frank Irving. And so we end with a sense of this is the new group, this is the new Avengers, and Moloch has been defeated, so there are going to be new journeys. It's a really nice feeling of anything can happen in the next season, which is very good.
And for Ichabod, it kind of leaves you in an interesting position too, because like you just said, his son is being killed by his essentially best
partner,
friend, and then you've done the unthinkable, which many would have thought, and killed the woman you spent the last 2 seasons trying to bring back into your life.
Quite.
There must have been, like, when you read that script, you must have been completely blown away, not only just by what was happening, but the possibility that was up for you as an actor and a character.
There were lots of variations of the killing Katrina scene. There were lots of different drafts of that scene, with different ways of her being killed by Ichabod. Some were explicitly accidental and some were explicitly intentional. And I said I really wanted an ambiguity there, because I certainly think it was an accident. I don't think Ichabod intended to kill his wife, but he did intend to restrain her. I would really hope that, and then the scene directly after her dying, I kept saying I want it to be very clear that it's really it's been difficult, to say the least, and he's not just going to be able to wipe himself down and carry on with the task at hand. We need to see that it was his whole reason for being, his life, his wife, he has just killed. And then there was a nice moment of trying to bottle some of that emotion when Abby walks towards him, and that's something that I'd really like to hold for quite a while into the 3rd season. This sense of Ichabod just trying to hold it in, trying to hold it together, but of course, how can you do that when, as you say, your partner has killed your son and you've killed your wife? There's going to be moments where the top just blows off, and then it's quickly grab it all back together.
Do you think that's going to make him more of an impulsive character in decisions now? Because essentially before there's been a sense of measurement when he's making a decision. Now the emotions are boiling. He's still dealing with all these things that are bumbling up inside, and he's trying to figure out what and who he is.
Well, I wonder whether it'll actually be the opposite, and he'll actually return to being a man of logic, and trying not to let all of this aggression affect him, because he knows that will never lead anywhere good. To follow your head and try and ignore all of this, and then that'll make it even more exciting, the moments where that does suddenly burst out. Much like in the 1st season, when he attacked the scarecrow root monster thing, and that was surprisingly aggressive from Ichabod, because he knew that this was a creature that directly endangered his wife.
Very true.
That's something I'd like to explore a bit more.
Now, of course, he's almost become that creature, isn't he? He's hurt his wife, and he's done the unthinkable, which no one else has been able to do.
No, quite.
And so it's going to be very interesting to see how that kind of translates across. And I think, as you're right, I think there will be a moment when it all comes crashing down on him.
Yeah,
and I
exactly.
think that's going to be, for you, that must be the thought of that.
And also, I wonder what a discussion between Ichabod and Abby about that event will be like.
Yeah.
And she shot and killed his son.
Yeah, it must mean for you. It must be like chomping at the bit now to see this grid, to see where the season's going.
I can't wait. We've got a new showrunner who I think will take it in a really interesting direction. We've got largely the same writers who are itching to tell lots of nice episodic stories. Yeah. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
And so you think because one of the things Ichabod has done in the past is have more of an overarching story. So this time you think we're going to switch back to a more episodic basis then?
As far as I know, I think that's the intention from the creators, which I think a show like this can really work. I mean, you look at the X-Files, and that managed to stay episode to episode. It never felt like it was, monster of the week. It still felt like there was a point to it, and it was scary. And so I hope that's the direction that we'll be moved into.
It's going to be interesting. I think it definitely, for the third season, it's going to be really kind of a different thing. Because you're even moving locations as well, aren't you? You're taking
we're moving from Wilmington in North Carolina to Atlanta.
So you'll be nearby The Walking Dead.
I'm hoping for a day off and I can just sneak in and be a zombie.
That would be amazing.
That's my plan for next year.
You should try and do a crossover season where they kind of cross over.
Maybe I could steal the Ichabod costume.
That'd be really,
and the wig, and be a zombie Ichabod.
You could have them walking past the set, and it's a film. It could be an old set that's with a Sleepy Hollow set, and they could be on the set like just mooring around there, running past it.
Perfect.
Have fun with that.
Done. Right to the producers.
Now they'd listen, but hey, they think us a crazy fanboy. But in terms for you, though, I mean, it must be interesting because I think with the Katrina and the getting this son, do you think there's going to be a case of the stiff British upper lip, as it were, almost?
I think so. I think that would be part of the keeping emotions under wraps. Stiff upper lip to a point. You wouldn't like it to appear that it was very easy, but also I don't think anyone really wants to see him, overwhelmed by his emotions for the next season. I think we can hopefully find a nice balance between the two.
What has it been like from you to be? You're a Brit Broad, essentially. You're out there. You're not only a Brit Broad, but you're a Brit Broad with the lead on a major Fox television show.
It's unbelievable.
It must be kind of a thrill, though, really.
Oh. Yeah, absolutely. I have to pinch myself quite often. I mean, it's the sort of thing that when you start as an actor in England, you never really imagine it. You never really think of being a lead in a TV show in America. I was never in a huge rush to get out there. I was fine with being unemployed in one country, let alone putting myself into unemployment in two. So this was my first attempt at pilots over there, and so my first job in America. Yeah.
And now we are 3 years nearly in, and it's going to be an incredible.
I know. Who'd have thunk it?
Yeah. Well, obviously somebody, because they put you in the position of it. But for what's been the funnest part for you for doing Sleepy Hollow?
Fighting Neil Jackson and winning.
Every time.
Every time, thank you.
But speaking of the Neil Jackson and the Horsemen, now, the end of season 3, there was a kind of just towards the second half of season 2. It was very interesting in that the Horsemen and you kind of come to you'd help them fight with the Archangel.
Yeah.
And then, of course, the Horseman, as I've said, next time I see you, it's on. Next time he sees you, if he's still around, you killed the one woman he'd ever loved.
Well, this has been discussed as well, that Katrina was the only thing really holding him back, stopping him. And so next time we meet, he's going to be even more moody.
And there's going to be an even bigger fight scene.
Exactly, and it might be the one that Ichabod doesn't necessarily win.
That will be an interesting one to be. Now you're teasing us. But from your point of view, you've done a lot of stage work as well in the UK. I believe you've even written and directed some stage plays.
Yeah.
Do you think that that's something that when you go on for the Sleepy Hollow that you may want to kind of get involved in as well?
Yeah, I was talking to a couple of the producers about maybe directing one of the episodes, which I don't think I'll do in this next season. But if it goes further, I'd certainly like to pursue that. I've been talking to a couple of the writers about ideas for episodes. So maybe I'll be allowed to squeak my nib and write one of them.
That would be great.
Yeah.
Is it? And what was your ideal episode leader? What do you think would really an episode you really like to pen if you had a chance?
That's very interesting. Well, I've already written them down and sent them to people, so I don't want to spoil anything.
Fair enough. We won't push you on that one. But for you then, if you could sum up your experience in Sleepy Hollow, what do you think would be what's the one memory that you'd love to just take with you?
There are jobs that you do and you finish and you're okay with leaving them behind. And there are other jobs that you just know you're going to revisit time and time again. And this, from the very beginning, I think we all knew it's one that we'll remember for the rest of our careers. That's the echoes of Sleepy Hollow won't leave us for a while.
And that's it. The fans love it. We love it. Thank you for coming.
It's a pleasure. Thanks a lot, Stuart. Thanks.